Hey, what is going on, guys? EnteR ChazmaN here, and sorry if this seems a little bit off the cuff. I'm kind of doing this all live, trying to get it all done at once. But yeah, man, oh my goodness, Microsoft just purchased Activision Blizzard, and let's just say it has been dominating the nerdy kind of video game news all day. I found out this morning when a buddy texted me, and I thought he was kind of pulling my leg until I looked on Twitter, and literally everyone I saw was talking about it. Sorry, I still got the cough. But yeah, man, this whole deal has been absolutely crazy. I mean, they purchased Activision Blizzard. Here, let's take a look. I'm reading this off of Bloomberg, which on an article that was written by Adina Base. And yeah, Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard for a whopping $68.7 billion, which is an absolutely astronomical number, especially if you compare it to their previous purchase, which we thought was huge, of Bethesda, which they bought for $7.5 billion. So this one at almost 9 times that amount is is just absolutely crazy. So an interesting little tidbit is Nintendo right now is actually worth about $61 billion. So Microsoft basically spent a Nintendo to buy Activision Blizzard. Kind of crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, again, the previous purchase they had of Bethesda we all thought was just intense. This one, in terms of scale, is much larger. Maybe not in terms of the games for me, but definitely in terms of the popularity of the games and the reach that the Activision Bethesda games can I guess extend out to. For me personally, I would say the Bethesda acquisition was a bigger deal because I actually cared about these games a little bit more. Starfield, Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, all that stuff. Those are all more my bag. The games for Activision Blizzard, there's some games in there I dabble in, but for the most part, these are games more that I feel like other people are bigger with other people. Nonetheless, though, this is just a gigantic move in the gaming industry. It's pretty game changing. I'm kind of curious to see how in the future this is gonna affect maybe not Nintendo, but definitely a company like Sony and PlayStation. That's a conversation for another time. But yeah, so let's get back to this. I think I don't think anyone would doubt that this path was paved mainly because of a lot of the problems that have been going on with Activision Blizzard. I definitely think that kind of created a window for Microsoft to be able to go in and swoop in. Maybe Kotick and the shareholders within the company were also looking for a way to kind of start getting out, maybe trying to fix the company. But yeah, again, I think a lot of the problems, stuff like the Cosby suite and all of the sexual harassment, all the lawsuits, there's no doubt maybe Activision Blizzard was just looking for someone to come in and right the ship, of which, hey man, Phil Spencer, he appears to be the best writer of ships in the world right now, coming off of the Don Matrix situation with the OG Xbox One. But yeah, so Papa Phil once again attempting to step in and fix something. With all of those problems, though, a lot of people are very curious as to what this means for Kotick and his tenure right now. Obviously, he is not a popular individual whatsoever. A lot of people would like him gone. Yeah, so as of right now, I believe... so here on IGN, it is being... Sources familiar with Activision Blizzard say Bobby Kotick is set to leave after the deal closes. So I've done a little bit of reading into this. So I believe what is set to happen is that the deal is not finalized or cannot be finalized and cannot be signed off on until I forgot the date. I didn't write it down. Until about, I think it's June of 2023. And I also believe Bobby Kotick's current contract is due up until 2023 as well. So from what I understand, I think Xbox has said that Bobby Kotick will stay in his position until then. And then what's being reported here is I believe they're just going to let him walk once his contract ends, which I believe, hey, I'm all for that. From what I understand, the reason why they haven't let go of him already is because they would be due to owe him a crap ton of money if they fired him before his contract ended. So I believe they're just like, hey, listen, we're not going to give you any more money. We'll let you fulfill your contract. And then once we buy your ass, you're gone. Is basically, from what I understand, is happening there. So yeah, needless to say, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on all of the things going on within Activision Blizzard. I'm mainly here just to kind of look at the games and exactly what studios and Microsoft is getting and how I think it's going to actually affect them, which is super interesting. Another little tidbit, just since this purchase this morning, or not just this morning, but within the last few days, Activision Blizzard stock has gone up to about about $20, which is, I mean, obviously the stock market was seeing something coming. So stocks are up. Bobby Kotick is looking like he's on his way out. Microsoft's gaining a bunch of games. It seems like, for the most part, everyone other than Sony people are probably very happy about this. Yeah, man. I would think a lot of people are probably anxious. If you're a Sony fan, more particular with something like Call of Duty, that would be a huge rug pull if Microsoft was just to up and say, hey, this is going to be an Xbox exclusive. That would be a pretty big blow to Sony. I mean, I know Call of Duty the last few titles have not been that popular, but it is still one of the highest selling video games out there, which is totally crazy. But yeah, man, so absolutely, this is very earth-shattering in terms of the game industry. I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of the games and the studios that they are going to acquire. So let's see where to start. I have a few images, so I'm going to start going through a lot of the major studios and games. First off, quite possibly the largest in terms of revenue is going to be a company or a video game studio called Kings. Or is it King? Oh, it's just King Studios. Now, their one gigantic game, yes, it's just one, but it may be the largest in terms of revenue, is of course the handheld game Candy Crush, of which is just an astronomical, crazy big game. I don't know much about handheld games. I know this game's been around for a while, but it's a huge amount of money. So I guarantee you that's one of the things that's probably going to recoup a lot of Microsoft's purchase right there. Next up, we're going to go to other major acquired studios. This is where things get kind of interesting. Where these aren't some of the larger studios, but some of these are very notable and very interesting into what Microsoft may have some of these companies work on. I think for the most part, Microsoft and Phil Spencer have kind of said that they're going to allow these studios to operate independently, so maybe they'll still be allowed to work on what they want to work on. I mean, well, I don't mean that, but well, yeah, I guess I do mean that. It would be nice for Microsoft to not immediately step in and force them to work on something they may not want to work on. Once again, Phil did say they're going to allow them to work independently. Hopefully that remains the case. But let's see. So we already talked about, well, we'll get into Blizzard. I already talked about King. So yeah, we'll talk about Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, and Treyarch. These three games are the three primary developers that Activision has had working on all of the Call of Duty games in recent memory. So basically what had happened is because Call of Duty is such a huge revenue creator for Activision that they started to, if you don't know, they wanted to start pumping out Call of Duty games every single year because they, again, they're trying to generate revenue. So they wanted to build a game basically every year, which is what's been happening with Call of Duty. So yeah, basically every year a different company, one of these three companies or development studios, has worked on a Call of Duty game. I don't necessarily like that method of game creation. It's very Madden-esque in terms of what EA has kind of done with some of the sports titles. I think that's why I think it's why a lot of the Call of Duty games have kind of become stale, is because there's so many of them coming out and they're being pumped out so quickly. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Xbox continues to let these three development studios kind of still annually work on a Call of Duty game, or if they're going to start to branch them out. That'll be interesting to see. So yeah, once again, Call of Duty is a huge game. I mean, I'm sure these companies would love to work on something other than Call of Duty. or maybe just, branch out, start to experiment, get wacky. So yeah, next up, let's move to the development team Raven, which this was a really interesting development team, because after looking into it, I knew I'd heard of them from somewhere, but I couldn't put my finger on what games exactly they had made. So yeah, Raven Software, they worked on a couple interesting games from the 360 era that I actually really love. One of my favorite games on the Xbox 360 was Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, and they also worked on another game called X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is another kind of 360 game that I had no expectations for, but actually ended up being pretty decent. So yeah, there's Raven. There's a couple games. They had other titles, but those are the ones that stuck out to me. Another company development team called Toys for Bob. This is one I had never heard of, but they've worked on some huge games. Let's see, they worked on all the Skylanders games, which I found surprising. I know Skylanders is a big deal, something I never quite played. But, yeah, man, they also worked on, what else did they work on? They worked on Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. They worked on Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. They did the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So they've got quite a resume, and I think that's a very nice pickup as well. Let's see. So we've got, the next one is, who is this? Demonware. Demonware is more of an assist studio, which is kind of interesting. They worked on some other big games with, Activision Blizzard. Once again, an assist studio. I'm not quite sure what they assist with, but yeah, more of they help in development of certain titles. We've also got High Moon Studios, which We've also got High Moon Studios, which actually is more of an assist developmental studio as well. But they did work on a lot of those 360 era Transformers games, as well as that Deadpool 360 game, which I actually never got to play, but I heard really good things about it. So yeah, they've got some interesting titles underneath them as well. And finally, we'll talk about Beanox. Now, Beanox is a studio I've heard about for a long time. They worked on a lot of those 360 era Spider-Man games, which I actually own quite a few of those. Never got to play many of them. I've heard some people say some of them are pretty good and some of them are pretty bad. But I'm actually really interested to see what what Microsoft would have Beanox work on. And again, they're more of a support studio, more of an assist developmental, but they do have some of those Spider-Man games on their resume, which I find to be pretty interesting. So yeah, that's all of those. Let's move on. So this is just crazy. So for Activision, basically everything they bring to the table is, so you've got Call of Duty, once again, one of the highest selling video games every single year. I think with Candy Crush and Call of Duty alone, Microsoft is going to make up a large amount of their money back with those two, just those two alone. You've also got the corpse of Guitar Hero sitting here. I don't know how much money that's going to bring Microsoft. Yeah, like I said, that's kind of Dead Man Walking Guitar Hero. One of my favorite old school franchises on the 360, but I'm not quite sure how many people are still begging for more Guitar Hero. Another cool one is the Tony Hawk series, all the pro skaters, which I shouldn't say all. I mean, the only more recent one is the Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake, which I have, or remaster. So yeah, any Tony Hawk games, that's going to be Microsoft. These two are the more interesting ones, I think, in my opinion. Well, Call of Duty is the ones everyone's going to care about, but for me, these are the two most interesting ones that are being brought over, mainly because Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, these were originally PlayStation games, which that is a big kick in the nuts for PlayStation people. I mean, obviously, bringing these over is kind of disheartening. I don't know how even I feel. I mean, even part of me is like, dude, these are PlayStation games, but hey, man, if it helps these games get funding and helps more future titles come too, then I guess, you know, it's not a bad proposition. But yeah, once again, very interesting. I'm not a big Spyro guy, but Crash Bandicoot, I used to love those games. Alright, so we've done it. That's Activision. And another crazy list is we also have the games that are being brought over by Blizzard within Activision. So let's take a look. See, we've got Heroes of the Storm, game I don't really know much about. Same thing with Hearthstone. I know Hearthstone is very popular, and Heroes of the Storm is also very popular. Two titles I don't really know much about, but those are going to be big deals. Then we start getting into the big ones. We've got the big four. We've got Diablo series I really love. I didn't really play too much of the latest Diablo 2 remake, but I love Diablo 3. I know that's probably what old school Diablo people don't want to hear, but I very much like Diablo 3. I thought it was pretty fun. Overwatch, still a very big game. A game I could never get into, but that's a huge title. That's definitely a win. StarCraft. StarCraft means a lot to me. It's a game me and my brother used to play back when we were younger. So hopefully this ensures that maybe we'll get another StarCraft 3 at some point. I still haven't played StarCraft 2, but yeah, that's one I definitely want to try out at some point. Love StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 I want to play at some point. And then another big one is the Blizzard Warcraft. So they get the entire World of Warcraft and Warcraft, which, you know, that's all kind of rolled up into one. A super interesting aspect of a lot of these is as to, or at least with me, is what's going to happen with World of Warcraft and its subscription service. Xbox is definitely touting and holding up high their Game Pass thing, so I'm curious how that's going to be brought to Game Pass. My guess is what they're going to do is they're going to offer a discount to people who want to subscribe to World of Warcraft, because it is still a monthly subscription. So maybe they're going to say people that own Game Pass will get 50% off of a monthly subscription fee for World of Warcraft. That might be kind of interesting to do. So yeah, I don't know. That's going to be totally way down the line of just wackiness to see how Xbox is going to implement all of these games into Game Pass. Yeah, guys, once again, this whole story is absolutely bonkers. It's really kind of interesting to see exactly what this does for Xbox. I mean, obviously, first off, it's going to make them a crap ton of money. But I'm more interested to see exactly what these titles and studios affect on their gaming services. I think why Xbox did this, or Microsoft did this, is obviously I think they're future-proofing their Game Pass service. It definitely seems like Phil Spencer was correct, or he was in line when he said that Xbox's competitors are no longer companies like Sony and Nintendo. It's companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook. He's definitely treating it like it's all-out warfare, and not necessarily console warfare anymore. I think it's content. Or I read it on IGN. They called it content warfare, which is very interesting. Just this idea of, hey, we don't care how many Xboxes we sell anymore. We want people on our Game Pass platform and they're acting like that's definitely the case, man. You know, as someone who has an Xbox Series X and a PC and Game Pass on both, I'm totally freaking stoked about this. This is awesome for me. Something I can't wait for is I'm hoping they begin to dabble more into the backwards compatibility, or maybe not backwards compatibility. I mean, Xbox already does that, but I would love to see them to digitally bring back some of these old games. Like, I would love to see some of the old, like, even just for purchases, like they do on Xbox Live for older games. I would love to see ports of, like, the old Call of Duty games, Guitar Heroes, the Pro Skaters, the Crash Bandicoots, the Spyros. I would love to see on there, or to at least be able to purchase them for a certain amount of price on Xbox. That would be great. Like if I don't know, like if next year they just said, hey, look, we're gonna drop StarCraft 1 on Game Pass PC, I would be like, well, I guess you could already get that game, but I mean, maybe something more interesting would be like, hey, we're gonna drop Crash Bandicoot 1 on Series X. I'd be like, hell yeah, how much you want? You want me to spend $5? Sure. Just to have it digitally. I don't know. But as I said earlier, one of the more interesting things I'm curious to see what they do is with the World of Warcraft. Who knows what's going to happen with that and all these other service-based games. But yeah, I guess that's it, guys. This was a totally crazy story. I've been kind of soaking it in as much as I could all day, even though I was at work. I tried to listen to as many and watch as many videos as I could, kind of talking about it, and it's pretty much all I've been talking about all day with friends on the phone, and it's been a good time. But yeah, guys, that was it. That's basically everything about the purchase of Activision Blizzard from Microsoft that I could. Everything at least I thought about it. Overall, I'm excited. I'm gonna get these games. I have Game Pass, so I will say I have been thinking about buying a PS5, and man, depending on what happens with some of these titles, I think I'm still going to be someone who buys a PS5 just because I like having all the consoles. But I think if Xbox down the line was to make a game like Call of Duty a platform exclusive, oh my goodness, I think that could do some serious damage to Sony. Because, I mean, Sony doesn't have a first-person shooter that's a big deal, other than Call of Duty. I know they stopped making the, oh man, what were those games called? Oh, Killzone. They stopped making the Killzone games, and that was like their big shooter that was first-party, and now they don't have any first-party shooters. It's all their shooters are all third-party, Call of Duty games. So once again, I don't wish any, like, I'm not like a Xbox fanboy, Sony fanboy. I tend to lean more Xbox, but I'm more of a, PC Xbox guy. I don't have a favorite. The only reason I don't have a PS5 right now is because it's expensive. I was able to get my Xbox on a bit of a financing plan, which I freaking love that Microsoft was doing that. But yeah, I guess I'll just end it at there, guys. Overall, crazy acquisition. This is going to be on everyone's talking point in the nerd kind of world for the next week or so, maybe year. Man, it's earth-shattering, really is. But hey, what did you guys think of this acquisition in Microsoft and everything about this? What do you think about Activision Blizzard? I'd love to hear down in the comments. Tell me what you thought about the video. I was just kind of looking for a way to share my thoughts, and I don't know, thought it'd be cool to kind of look at the games and look at the studios and see exactly what's being brought to Microsoft. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you. Please be safe and keep on gaming, yo. Alright, guys, I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Hey now, I see you made it through the video and liked or even possibly loved it. Well, if you want to see any more additional content or you'd like to get into contact with me, consider checking out some of my social medias right here. And if you'd like to go above and beyond and want to support my channel monetarily, here is also a couple places where you can do so. And if nothing else, simply liking, sharing, and subscribing would make me the happiest ChazmaN on the planet.